Suddenly I don't feel so bad. Suddenly I don't feel so bad. I mean, I still feel bad, but suddenly I don't feel as bad, you know. Anyway, hold tight, everyone. Give a few minutes to see. What's up, Corey? Eric D. Yeah, you're right. Wasn't a game. It was over after the first play. Yeah. What's up, Corey? Yeah, there's some news, all right. KJ, yeah. Oh, no. That's a good question. Roll tide, Eric. Give a few minutes for some people to hop in here and discuss what they just saw or didn't see. I don't know how many of you guys turned that game off. That was definitely a clunker. I picked Indiana like 36-24 or 34-26, something like that. I thought it'd be a little more competitive than that, but I didn't think Oregon had any chance of beating Indiana. They're not going to lose. He went to sleep, Brock. He texted a little while ago, said he was catching out. He I think he's got a clinic in the morning that he's got to get up for. So, you know, it's 11:10 where he is. So he left this one to me and our good friends in the chat. If anybody has any thoughts on what we just saw, I wasn't watching this game as intensely as I did last night. Obviously, what's up, Kat? Obviously, last night's game was quite a bit better. Indiana pounced early. Man, they are just relentless. God, they just take your soul, crush it, and that's it. So I don't. Anyway, interesting game that was. Love when those playoff games are blowouts like that. I mean, that's funny. Yeah, there's some other news. We're probably going to lose Hollywood Smothers to Texas. He's taking a sudden visit to Texas now, so it looks like we're probably going to lose Hollywood Smothers. Don't know about Cam Coleman. I mean, the strong buzz in the rumor world is that, you know, he's coming, you know, but nobody knows. He's the only one that knows for sure. Not sure when we're supposed to know if he's going to announce. I mean, I have no idea when any of this is going to be known. There's just a lot of hunches and a lot of rumors and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. We lost Tony Diaz, the wide receiver, to Iowa today. That's never thought we'd ever lose a player to Iowa, much less a wide receiver. No disrespect to Iowa, but come on. No, Indiana ain't getting complacent, Chris. I'm fairly confident that Sig will prevent that from happening. But hang on, let's see here. All right. You could be you could be right, Chris. I've been defending him for a couple of years now. I'm giving him through his third year. This will be a roster that he's built. Now we can't get anybody in the portal apparently, but a punter and a long snapper, those are important pieces, but can't seem to get anybody we're aiming for in the portal. I don't know, you know, and that's why this Cam thing. Lance, what's up, dude? That's why this Cam thing. I wish we would just know something, whether it's yes or no, just so we can stop worrying about it. Yeah, you're right, Eric. AK Deer, Xavier Crowell, Daniel Hill will be back. That's 3. What other running backs are back? We're losing Jam. We're losing Richard Young. I'd have to dig up the roster. I don't know who the returning running backs are. I thought Hollywood was going to be a nice piece, not a piece that cost us a shot at the chip or anything. But I thought it'd be a nice piece. Yes, Kevin Riley's back. Yeah, I mean, he's what it depends on the price. You know, we've lost quite a few receivers and then hadn't gotten anyone in the portal, and so we need some receiving help. I'm not sure who else would be on the docket though. We need some bodies there. Yeah, Texas is going to throw a bag at Smothers. I bet he's not going to get out of Austin. We are going to be a very young team next year, Cat. I would rather go 9-3 with Keelan Russell as the quarterback next year than 9-3 with Ty. No disrespect to Ty, no shot at Ty, but DeBoer was never going to wait until year 4 to play his quarterback. That would be a suicide mission. If he's going to assume that he's going to make it to year 4 to play his quarterback, it's nuts to think that the quarterback will wait that long. So, yeah, this is a good point. I mean, why we need bags to go in the trenches. I agree, Lance, on this. You know, if he wants to give a hometown discount, so to speak, so be it. But we don't need to throw $2 and $3 million at this dude. Now, a lot of that was a product of who his quarterbacks were. Jackson Arnold sucks, and Ashton Daniels is, not a prolific passer. So, anyway. But yes, Indiana's going to boat race Miami. I know Miami's got a tough defense. I know they've got great speed rushing edges. I know that their defense is playing really well, but man, Indiana just looks destined. They just look destined to truck everyone. I think at one point I saw a tweet where they had outscored the 2 playoff teams like 73-10. At one point, 73-10 against 2 playoff teams. Come on. See, now Indiana's ruining it for everybody now too, because Saban ruined it for anybody that followed him. DeBoer never had a shot because of following Saban the same way Ray Perkins never had a shot following Bear. Neither did Bill Curry. You had to get to Stallings before people, and then they wanted one of Stallings' boys with Dubose, and then it flamed out again until they got Saban and got off that mindset. So Cignitti's going to ruin it now because everybody's going to be pounding the desk that we should have hired Cignetti 2 years ago. Cignetti should have been the hire. What were we thinking? Keep in mind, if we'd have hired the JMU coach and he brought 13 JMU players, we would have had meltdowns. You would have seen all the Gumps have massive, massive meltdowns. I mean, we would have been the laughing stock. Now, I mean, now it would have turned out like this. Who knows? But at the time, 2 years ago, had we hired him to replace Saban from JMU, we all would have been like, "That's the best we could get." An old 1-year receivers coach. Yeah. So, dirt bike, you're right. I just don't think Alabama fans don't have meltdowns. This is, now Sig would have been at Indiana and we hired him from Indiana. Maybe that'd have been a different story, but I don't know that if Greg Byrne got up there and announced the James Madison University head coach Curt Cignetti as the next Alabama coach, that we all would have been like embracing it 100%. So, this can't argue this. We don't know that he would have brought in players. You can't say that. Was he going to bring a billionaire's checkbook with him? Maybe. So, I mean, this is true. We don't know what Sig would have done. It's a pressure cooker. Whoever steps in there. Oh, yes, this is true. We'd lose Smothers to be running back 2, or somebody was going to be running back 2. Yeah, I agree, Cat. Mendoza's. I was hoping he would be like a douchebag, like Pavia and Manziel and stuff, so I could hate his guts and troll him and root against him. But he's a good dude. He's a likable guy, and it's miserable. I want to root against my enemies, but enemies, I say, you know what I mean. But he's a likable kid. He's very respectful and he's well spoken and good player. When he runs, he looks crippled when he runs, but it's hysterical. But he's effective, and he's faster than he looks, and he gets first downs and makes plays, and he's got his team about to steamroll Carson Beck and the Hurricanes in their own home stadium. I just don't see how Miami can beat this team. I don't see how Miami has enough offense to beat this team. It's just crazy. It's pretty simple, J. Cole. Texas money, oil money. And Texas needs running back. So they're going to overpay for a guy. I don't know what we were going to pay for him. I don't know that those terms were disclosed. So it's hard to say what we would have overpaid him for. But I'm sure we would have. No, there's something there's something. I mean, what did Oregon have? Like 3 fumbles inside the 5-yard line or 2, something like that? Does anybody remember off the top of their head? I mean, I think Oregon fumbled the ball twice inside their own 5-yard line, or had a punt block. That's what I meant. Fumbled once and had a punt blocked, I think. Let's see. Who else is in here? Thomas. What's up, Thomas? Little to none. I don't see him staying at all. But maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see him staying at all. Yes, this is true. Chasing him down because I'm sure he wanted to bring Chambliss with him, and then Chambliss re-signed with Ole Miss and then got denied his 6-year of eligibility. The NCAA is a bunch of crooked vultures, man. It's their fault that this is all like this because they were so greedy that they were up in arms over people getting lunch money back in the 80s. That led to all this. If the NCAA wouldn't have been such greedy dirt bags, then none of this would be. We wouldn't be in this situation. But they, suspending kids because somebody bought them a hamburger or something. I mean, that's ridiculous. NCAA deserves everything they get. They deserve to be completely stripped powerless. Chambliss ought to sue him. They denied his eligibility. He ought to sue him and say, I got a contract with Ole Miss to pay me this much money to play football next year. So can Chambliss sue the NCAA? Which, by the way, that's coming. Y'all hear me out. This is coming. Somebody at some point is going to sue the NCAA over eligibility as a whole because they're paid employees now. They're not amateur athletes. They're paid employees of the school. So at some point, somebody is going to sue the school and say, you can't tell me that I can't play here. I have a contract. To play here. I am employed by this school. You can't tell me that I only have 5 years to play here. You can't tell me that. I'm not a student. I'm an employee. I can play here as long as they'll pay me. So somebody's going to sue the NCAA over that at some point, and the courts are going to abolish the eligibility farce, and it's back. It's going to be straight up mercenary pro league. Don't get me wrong; these kids should have been getting paid for long before now. Okay, long before now, they should have been getting paid off their own image, or somehow, some way. There should have been structure in here 50-something years ago to pay these players instead of stuffing suits' pockets with billions of dollars. When now billions, at the time, millions as it grew. The TV contract with a B, billions. So it was only a matter of time before these players are going to be like, y'all stuffing your pockets off our work. It just took O'Bannon suing the NCAA to finally get this allowed. But somebody will sue the NCAA, and they're going to abolish this whole eligibility thing. Mark my words, it's going to happen sooner rather than later. With the amounts of money, and the money's going to keep going up. The guy got $5 million from Texas Tech. Next year, somebody's going to get $6 million or $7 million. The market's going to reset every year because these are 1-year free agent contracts. What's up, K Spray? Sorry, see Rob. Let me get back here to these chats. Sorry, I'm going on a rant about how college football is no longer college football anymore. This is true. I mean, at some point they're going to unionize. The players are going to have to unionize at some point because these are going to have to be collectively bargained as this money gets outrageous and these kids are signing contracts and then entering the portal the next day. They're going to wind up in court again. I mean, this is just insane. This is just wild. I mean, this whole thing is just wild. There's no laws. There's no rules. It's Thunderdome with kids that aren't old enough or mature enough to be making decisions with this amount of money. Come on. When y'all were 18, if somebody would have handed you $5 million, my gosh, you wouldn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do when we were 18 years old with any money. 17, 18 years old. We're talking about this kinds of money. Anyway, that's not why we're here to talk about the Peach Bowl and the playoffs, and I'm going to diatribe about the Mercenary Pro League. So anyway, who else we got over here? Mace, what's up, Mace? Agreed. I hope Ammunition feels a lot better after seeing that tonight. We actually were more competitive than than Oregon, although Oregon did score 22 points. But we actually held Indiana to only 17 points at halftime, I think, wasn't it? Was it 24 or 17? What was the halftime score of that Rose Bowl? I already forgot. 24-3 or 17-0, something like that. I think we got shut out in the first half because I remember thinking to myself that we were going to get shut out, period, in the whole game. Yes, agreed, Smitty. Totally agree. Yeah, okay, 17 zip. All right. So, yeah, we were more competitive in the first half than Oregon was. I thought Dan Lanning was this bad mother shucker. No? Not? Okay. Let's see. I know Oregon calling timeouts down by 6 scores. I'm fairly confident Indiana is going to steamroll Miami. Miami is playing at home, and crazier things have happened, and the game's not for like 10 days now. My gosh, they just can't end the season. Same thing last year. By the time the championship game got here, I didn't even care anymore. I didn't watch one snap of the championship game last year. I couldn't have cared less. I was already thinking about spring training, the pitchers and catchers reporting, and like 2 weeks later. So the January 1 should be the national championship game. That's where the season should end, on January 1st. That's the most logical. I just don't. They just drag this crap out. My gosh, this was 16 games. This is an NFL schedule these kids are playing. These are college. These are kids playing NFL length schedules. I mean, the guys are beat down. No wonder Oregon got steamrolled. They're gassed. Oh, man. Yes, he did. Yeah, he did. Carson Beck did. This is a good point, Larry. I'm concerned that there's been no staff changes other than Sheridan, but we already knew he was leaving. Now I'm confident in thinking if there were going to be any staff changes that they're gonna happen after the portal. I don't think you could be trying to get guys out of the portal and then having coaching turnover or staff turnover. It just seems you need a little more stability in this window now. Maybe he wants to run it back with his roster, with his staff. Who knows? You take that to the bank. Double that. Randy's in the house. What's up, Randy? What you think about what you just saw? Actually, what you think about what you just saw? All right, let's see here. Let me check something. That was fugly, to say the least. But Indiana does that, been doing that to everybody this year, and I thought it was just a product of their weak schedule. But man, they just don't care. They just they bust us up, man. Yeah, they dropped 8 on Oregon. Could have been more. Yeah, we were wanting 70. Us in the group chat were clamoring for, we're wanting 70. Him to hang 70 on the old Ducks, but I guess he called off the Dogs. Yes, I agree, Bailey. Texas is, they got that oil money out there, so they'll overpay for anybody. It doesn't matter. And if it's a bust, say a bond, then they'll just ho hum. They'll just move on to the next guy. That rabbit got the gun. That's right. Agreed, Thomas. We've been pounding our fists on this show for weeks about if Cam wants to come, then great. If Coleman wants to come to Alabama at a reasonable rate, then great. But we don't need to be throwing massive bags at a receiver. We're pretty sure, Bryant. We're pretty sure he's taking a visit to Texas last minute. That's not a good sign. What's up, Mammoth Brooks? Roll Tide. Yeah. That's true. They're adults. They're 23, 24, 25, 26-year-olds. Agreed. This is why I'm not thinking we need to throw the bank at Cam Coleman. I think that we've got a pretty good receiver right here. Now, I know he's a freshman, but that doesn't matter. Freshmen can play now. What does Bama have to do to get in the NIL? Seems like we have nowhere. A lot, but some of these we're not even getting a bid. Some of these folks, Gia, some of these folks are they're not even getting to campus. They're committing before we even get the visit. So does the strategy then need to be we need to be the first visit as opposed to the last? Because a couple of these guys never even got a chance to bid on them. So I don't know. Bingo. We need a receiver that can block. That's part of that. We need a lot of guys that can block. I think Thomas, because they got the money. Hey, why not? Throw another guy a bag. Who cares? We got plenty. Yeah, there you go. Okay, Spray. We'll give you a hand here. We'll give you a hand. We'll make it easier on you. See, we're not being aggressive in the portal just like we are on the field. That's true. Yeah, Hoosiers are very good, Randy. Yes, Hoosiers are very good. Randy, I was trying to toss you the link here to come in here and chat, but Twitter's fighting me. So anyway, sorry. I was going to try to toss you the link to hop in here in the live, but whatever reason, Twitter's asking me for a 4-digit passcode to be able to send a message. Never has done that ever. So, oh well. All right. That's a good point, C-Rob. Got pretty good. We've got skilled players. We're trying to piece them together. DeBoer's trying to rebuild the offensive line. He's doing the best. He's moved some people along. Some people have portaled that I think were almost given a thanks for your service. Probably gonna need you to go elsewhere type deal. Yeah, good point, Smitty. Go to join the Yay Alabama Collective, and you can join for like $5 a month as your freshman membership, or I think the other one's $25 a month. There's those 2 tiers. It's easy peasy. Get a sticker, no worries. I think it's yayalabama.org or something like that. But yes, it's the collective, the NAL Collective. So I joined about a year ago. Got my little white sticker. I'll go check it out. Bingo, Lance. If they ain't wearing crimson. I'm torn between I don't want these 380-pound road grader offensive linemen. I know that we need some lighter foot more athletic linemen. I think that kid from Michigan, like 310, but has very good footwork, very light on his feet. I think we need people like that. I think that's the kind of style that he's looking for. That's the kind of things he's looking for. This is another good question. Somebody will. Oregon's going to have a bunch. That's another thing. I mean, I don't have any evidence of this, but maybe some targets are still playing right now that we're going to reach out to. You know, that could be a factor, that there could be some targets of ours that nobody knows about that are still in games. And since nobody tampers, we're going to wait our turn quietly. Thank you, Smitty. Yes. Lance, man, we just had this conversation last night with Cotton on the text line. When we got the Brockermeyer brothers several years ago, I was so stoked because I thought the left tackle Brockermeyer would be the 3-year starter and then on to the NFL. But James, I was pumped about because he was a center, and I knew we needed we're going to need a good center, and center is a position that you can't just walk in as a freshman and play. That position takes two years tops to be able to play that at the level needed in this league to be able to compete for championships. So you don't hardly see any freshman centers, true freshman centers. You hardly ever see them at this league, in this league at this level. So I always knew Brockermeyer was destined to be a good center. And then when they both transferred to TCU, and then the other Brockermeyer retired because of injuries, never played. I think he had bad knees or a bad knee. But James then transferred to Miami, and I look up and he's a starting center for the Hurricanes. And I'm like, that guy should be in a crimson uniform. He was a starting center for spring practice a couple of years ago, DeBoer's first spring practice, as almost like an audition for the portal. And then he hopped in the portal right after the spring ball. And I don't know why we didn't try to retain him. Maybe he just didn't want nothing to do with it. Maybe the only reason they were at Alabama was because of Nick Saban. But yes, I was high on James Brockermeyer when he came out of Texas, high school in Texas, to Alabama with Tommy Brockermeyer. Yeah, I got some backup there. Yes, thank you. I think maybe some of the guys still might be playing. I mean, James has certainly looked pretty good. Yeah, their dad was a lottery pick for the Bears, or actually for the Panthers. I'm sorry, expansion Panthers. I think he was their first lineman they took. I think they took Blake in the first round of that expansion draft. And then he played for the Bears. So, yeah, Blake was a good. Is there a younger brother? Is there a third brother? Because the Tommy, the other one, retired because of injuries a couple years ago. I would say yes. I don't think the only team I thought that had a shot at beating 2019 LSU was 2019 Alabama. Maybe 2020 Alabama too would give them a run, but 2019 LSU was a video game. But to be honest, 2019 Alabama was just as talented, and I maintain to this day, if Tua's not playing on one leg in that game, that we win that 2019 game at Bryant-Denny. If you remember, he fumbled on the goal line with nobody touched him. He was just running in for a touchdown and dropped the ball, and then LSU went 97 yards for a touchdown after that. But I think a healthy Tua in 19, and I think we beat or because we gave them all they wanted, just got down like 42-13 or something. I mean, it was just that game just was nuts. That game got away, and if we make one stop late in that game, we got a shot. And then Edwards-Helaire ran Trayvon Diggs over, and that was the end of it. So that 18, 19, 20 Bama squad, that 3-year run was that 17 wasn't bad either, but a lot of those guys are freshmen. But That 2019 LSU team has the 2 best receivers in the NFL and the best quarterback in the NFL was on that team. That's tough to argue that. Yes, you're right, Lance. It was on the opening drive. We got some first downs or moving the ball, and he just dropped the ball. Nobody hit him. Nobody sacked him. Nobody stripped him. He just dropped the ball, and LSU recovered and then went 95 yards and X number of plays, and that was it. Yes, yeah. Randy Moss' son went out of bounds and came back in, and they reviewed it, and they gave it to him in Bryant-Denny Stadium. How does that happen? How does that happen? I don't know. But yes, you're right, C-Rob. 2020 Bama was one of the best of all time. You're right. That was the best offensive line I've ever seen, that 2020 Bama squad. When you got a dominant center like Landon Dickerson was, that was the best I've seen. This Indiana team is got to be in the conversation. If they win the game in 10 days, stupid. If they win that game and finish 16-0, I think that'll be the first 16-0 team ever. They're going to have to be in the conversation. I mean, it's hard to say that this Indiana team wouldn't give the 18, 19, 20 Bama team or the 19 LSU team, a run for their money. Certainly a better game than we saw tonight. Yeah, Smitty was on fire that night, and I still troll Derek Stingley Jr. on Father's Day, every Father's Day, about what Smitty did to him. This is good. Let's see. Pete gave Pete $3 million. Now you have to bump Carroll's pay because you aren't going to pay an outsider more than you're. Totally agree. This is. I've been saying this too. Whatever Cam Coleman's price is going to be, it can't be more than the guys on the team. You can't portal a guy and pay him more than the guys that are already on the team. I just don't see how you could sell that in the locker room and not have it be a problem. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but I don't see how that would not be a problem. Let's see. You think so? You think they'd smoke this team, Smitty? Smoke them? That may beat them. I don't know. Smoke them. This Indiana team's pretty good. They're a bunch of grown men playing. That's why. You got a bunch of 25-year-olds playing a bunch of kids. It's you get games like this, but that Miami team was stacked, man. That Miami team was, and they had Ken Dorsey was their quarterback. Got toothpick arms. I was wondering this when Horton suddenly portaled out of nowhere, that if he knew something was up, like if he knew something was coming. Maybe so. But I've often wondered that if Horton knew somebody was coming down the pipeline and he got out. This has also crossed my mind. Like, is he just using Alabama as a leverage piece and doesn't want to play with a rookie quarterback as dynamic as Keelan has the potential to be? Yeah, this baffled me too. How does he get here and then we don't sign him? Like, isn't that the definition of tampering? If he's here and somehow Texas got wind to him, or he got wind that Texas was going to throw a bag at him, I don't know. No, that's a great point. There's no development. There's nothing. I mean, it's just like I said, it's the mercenary pro league. They're just hired guns. There's hired mercenaries. 1 year hire, 1 year gun. Not. I mean, I'm not saying every single player, but that's the trend that we're seeing now. Is that these guys are basically hired guns. I don't know. 1 year contracts, no rules. Except it's not minor leagues. They're making more than NFL players. How asinine is that? I mean, the money. Some of these dollar signs are just insane. Just insane amounts. Insane amounts. Yeah, the NCAA basically is powerless. The only thing they can do is approve or deny a waiver of eligibility. They gave Pavia one. They gave Beck one. They gave that tight end from Miami who's in like his 9th year. They let him keep playing, and then they deny Chambliss. Like morons. Y'all remember Alabama basketball player a few years ago, Javon Quinterly? They denied him. He wanted to transfer back. This is before the portal was big. He put in for a waiver to move to be able to allow a transfer to be home with his mom who had cancer, I think, and they denied him, made him sit a year. Jeez, NCAA's gutless cowards. That's way more than I ever watched. Brendan Sorsby, because I'd never heard of the guy until I saw the ticker that he signed a $5 million contract at Texas Tech. I said, $5 million. That's more than the rookie scale. What's the NFL rookie scale? Isn't it like four something million annually? Isn't it like, what's the rookie first round wager? It's like 4-year guaranteed. We're about to, and since there's no CBA, they can't sign multi-year deals. There's never gonna be any multi-year deals. These are all just 1-year deals. Remember when Ty Haywood flipped at the last minute to Michigan last year? Never took a visit, never anything. Suddenly he was committed to Michigan. What did I say? I said, that's fine. We'll just sign him as a free agent next year. Boom. Guess who's in the portal? Ty Haywood. Guess who might sign him as a free agent? Alabama, you got it. Yeah, just keep cycling them through. Eventually, somebody will sign. Somebody will accept. That's bingo. There you go, Chris. That's what you're right about that. Once it starts messing with the NFL's product or the NFL's pockets, Goodell will have enough of that. You want to know who's going to fix college football? Roger Goodell. That's who's going to fix college football, because eventually it's going to start trickling into the NFL, this madness, and these guys they're not going to be any good when they get to the NFL because they haven't developed anywhere. They're just school hopping. And the NFL product's going to be ass, and Goodell's going to say, that's it. I've had enough. And Goodell's going to fix the problem. That's the guy. We all think college football needs a commissioner, or Nick Saban would be a great college, which he would be. But in the immediate, college football is not getting a commissioner anytime soon. So in the meantime, Goodell is going to be the one to fix it, because it's going to affect his product, and he's going to say, no more. Not doing this anymore. That's right. That's right. That's right, Cat. He does. Yeah, the USFL could be, or the UFL could be like the minor leagues for the NFL. They could, like baseball. Like the Chiefs draft or the Raiders draft Fernando Mendoza with #1 pick, but they're going to send him to whatever the UFL team is out near Vegas, if there is one, and let him play there for a year and cut his teeth, like AA ball. Call him up, towards the end of the season. If you're out of the playoff hunt, call him up towards the end of the season. Start treating this MPL like the minor league baseball. Yeah, it might be last one to ever do it. Honestly, y'all think about this. Ty Simpson, maybe the last guy you ever see spend 3 years at one school, and only that doesn't play for two of them. You might never see that again. Honest to God, I'm not joking. You may never see this again. So let's sit back and appreciate Ty for that. Like I said with Saban, you're never going to see another coach come in and play for 9 championships in 17 years. That's playing for a ring every other year. It's never going to see it again. A, nobody's ever going to be here that long. If anybody ever starts doing that, they're going to the NFL. And B, it's not this model isn't sustainable for somebody to be somewhere it's for 17 years and play for a championship basically every other year. Bingo. Nobody wants to compete anymore. I feel like nobody wants to compete anymore. They just want to start. That receiver for Texas, Rio Grande, whatever, went to Iowa over Alabama. Iowa, knowing that he's probably the best receiver on Iowa's team right now. And he's not even gotten there yet. Ain't even played a snap yet. He's already the best wide receiver on their team. Comes to Alabama, and he's going to have to grind. He's going to have to earn his spot. Although last year we had guys dropping balls all over the field. Nobody ever came off the field once. Last year was such a weird year that nobody got penalized for poor play. It was mind-boggling. It was mind-boggling that nobody on Alabama got penalized for poor play last year. Jam Miller, 3 games, averaged under 2 yards a carry, starter every week. Okay. Receivers dropping balls, 3-4 balls a week. Same 3 every week. Same 3 every week. Every week. Same 3 guys. Same 3. All we did was complain about Ryan Williams dropping balls. He was in there every week. Never came off the field. And it's like, man, Formby getting cooked like Christmas bacon. He was so bad at tackle that Jaden Roberts lost his job. That's how bad at tackle Formby was that it cost Jaden Roberts his spot. And Robert, like, what did I do? So that's true. See, maybe it's the best we have. But when your receivers are dropping 5-6 balls a game, try something else. Try Cole Adams. You're confident enough with him catching punts, but they won't use him as a receiver. As maybe a slot receiver, quick slant, beat the blitz. Won't do it. Can't do it. We're rolling with these 3 guys every play. Doesn't matter. It's like, man. Whew. So it's just, this is weird, man. We were so spoiled for so long that now it's like the expectations are too high. And then it's like, nah, man, we should have high expectations. And you're right, we should. But we're putting DeBoer on the hot seat. And no matter who followed Saban was going to not ever be good enough. Like whoever followed Bear Bryant was never going to be good enough. So it sucks for DeBoer, but he's got to start. He can't lose any games like he did this year. I know he won 11 games, won a playoff game, made the playoffs, made the SEC championship game, but all 4 of our losses, we got our ass kicked, like royally. Didn't compete in any of the 4 losses. We can't have that. Bingo. This is a huge point, Tobias. This thing was teetering before Saban left, and Saban did not. Everybody that hammers DeBoer, Tobias, you can vouch for me on this. All says DeBoer was handed a juggernaut, was handed a roster full of 5-star players. Never mind, 30 of them left right when DeBoer got there. But everything, some of these guys are overrated. All the guys on the team that stunk this year were Saban players. The best players on the team this year were DeBoer transfers. Were DeBoer players. The guys that we were screaming and yelling about were Saban players. Now, that doesn't mean that DeBoer's better than Saban. I'm not saying anything like that, but I'm just saying we were so upset about how the team looked. All the players that looked bad were Saban players. And then HaHa goes on Twitter and says, are we really that upset? Look at the production of these guys and the money they're wanting. Bingo. DeBoer was handed a Maserati. It looks beautiful on the outside, but the motor on the inside got problems. This is true, but so what pressure did Cignetti have to coach at Indiana, coming from JMU? I mean, who did he follow at Indiana? Whose shoes did he have to fill at Indiana? I mean, yeah, he was handed a Pinto and brought half his team with him, and they're all adults, and there's no pressure. If he loses Indiana, so what? They've been playing with house money for 2 years. Nobody. There was no other job anywhere that was going to compare to what DeBoer had to follow. It doesn't matter about the roster. It's us. Fired. Everyone fired. Fire DeBoer. That's the answer to every week is fire DeBoer. Fire him. Fire him. Fire him. Who are we going to hire? Who going to hire? Glenn Schumann? Pete Golding just ran through him like shit through a tin horn. So next. Dan Lanning. Next. Cignetti, he's pushing 70. He's not going to be the 10-year answer. So anyway, the shadow looms large, and he did win. I mean, he is winning. He won 11 out of, I mean, they played 15 games, won 11 of them, but he got his ass kicked in the 4 losses, and we can't have that anymore. We can lose 4 games. Okay, that's fine. They're not going to be any undefeated teams anymore. Now Indiana's about to go undefeated, but that's going to be rare. But we can lose 3 or 4 games and still have a good season. I mean, the playoffs are going to expand, so that'll be fine. But we just can't get blown out like that. We can't look non-competitive. We can't quit. We cannot quit like we did against Indiana. Like Georgia, we were playing with a third of the team against Georgia in that SEC championship game. So, I mean that should have been an exhibition anyway. Which that game is fast getting there. So but you're right, Lance. That's the unacceptable part is getting humiliated. We can't do that. If we lose 4 games by a combined 7 points this year, this is a much different conversation. Am I right? If that Indiana game was 21-17 or 20-17, we lost in a field goal, this would be a much different conversation. So I'm not saying he's got to win every game, otherwise he's a bum. That's not at all what I'm saying, but we just can't get blown out, losing by 35. No, we can't do it. Although Stallings lost 35-0 to Florida, his game number 2 of his second season, and then won 29 straight after that. So anyway, yeah, now you're going to hear that Oregon shouldn't have been there either. Remember Notre Dame was took their ball and went home because Miami got in over them, even though they lost to Miami, and now Miami's in the championship game. So again, Notre Dame's a laughing stock. Yeah, I agree, Lance. I would give him about 10 points. I know our fan base, the unhinged Gumps on Twitter, are sometimes embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know if he would have gotten fired. The media painted it that way. They wanted everybody to think that he would have gotten fired had he lost that game. Again, I think that would have been a terrible mistake to fire DeBoer 2 years into right in the middle of a roster rebuild. To hire who? Seriously, Alabama, they're not going to hire Lane Kiffin. So everybody can throw Lane Kiffin out of their mind. All us unhinged Gumps, all jump Lane Kiffin is the first name we all want. That's out of the question. Even before he went to LSU, he was never going to get the Alabama job. So who would we have? Let's say DeBoer lost to Auburn and they fired him, which they weren't going to do, but they fired him. Who are you going to hire? Who's going to leave their current job and be better than DeBoer? I mean, that's true, Lance. He should have had a better exit plan, but I don't think he knew what he was going to do, honestly, to be able to he did. It was Sark in 2020, and then Sark took the Texas job, and that screwed everything up. Because I think Saban was going to plan on retiring after that 2020 season, and Sark was going to take over. and then Sark took the Texas job, and so Saban had to, stayed for 3 more years. But I think had Texas not offered Sark that job when they did, that Sark would be Alabama's coach, and Saban would have retired after that 2020 championship. You're right. He absolutely has. Now he's gonna. Arch really started playing better at the end of. Nobody, I believe, Crimson. Nobody thought of that. That we are now. All the hindsight gumps are coming out now saying we should have hired him 2 years ago. Easy to say now after what we just saw, but I don't think anybody. I don't. There was no BAMs or no Gumps, myself included, that were hollering for Curt Cignetti. They were all hollering for Lane Kiffin. That's who 90% of Bama Nation wanted, was Lane Kiffin. I was not one of those, but 90% of Bama Nation did. By the way, Lanning's 0-3 against DeBoer. Sark's 0-2 against DeBoer. Kirby Smart's 1-2 against DeBoer. So I don't know. I don't know who. So DeBoer's the best guy that we can have right now, and he deserves a chance to build his team the way he sees fit. He deserves a chance to try to run it back with his quarterback, and not an inherited quarterback like he had in year 1 and like he had in year 2. So Keelan Russell was his quarterback. So that's the guy. Austin Mack too. Austin Mack's coming back next year. He's already said. So that now we'll have 2 quarterbacks that are his. Jet Tamala, he's already in the room. That's 3 quarterbacks that are his. And this other guy, this other freshman. So now the entire quarterback room is DeBoer's guys. So that's a big deal. He deserves to run it back. Maybe not with this exact staff, but he deserves to try to do this with his team, with his quarterback, with his style of lineman, Michael Carroll, Jackson Lloyd. Even if Ty Haywood comes back, we were recruiting him last year. DeBoer was on him last year. So there's a reason they wanted Ty Haywood. I think that's where we're looking, although there's stories out there about this Missouri offensive line coach supposedly being the guy, and Cap's just kind of riding out the portal. But I don't know. That's just out there. There's no sustenance to that. There's no confirmation of that. There's just hearsay. So who knows? But yes, I am worried that DeBoer's going to run it back with Cap, because he thinks that Cap, deserves to coach an offensive lineman, constructed a certain way with certain kinds of players, certain style of players. So that's, but we're losing out on a lot of these portal targets. So it's like, are these our top targets, or are our top targets still on a roster right now in playing in games? I don't know. That's the question. That is the question. That is indeed the question. Just like a Cavatier, either the drink of choice. So but the offensive line been getting rebuilt. I mean, new center, Brailsford's gone, Formby's gone, Robert's gone, Vandermark is gone. Thank God. Proctor's gone. I mean, the whole offensive line room is getting remade in real time. Defensive line as well. There's a bunch of good players still out there. Yes, Carter Smothers that's the rumor that he's got a last minute to Texas, which you know what that means. I'm kind of with you there, Bama Dave. Pittman's a fantastic line coach, and I was on the front lines saying DeBoer should have already done called him. But then once I started thinking about it, I was like, man, I don't know if Pittman's if the kind of style that DeBoer wants in his linemen. I don't know if Pittman's the guy for that. I was really wanting him to call Coach Huff, who's still playing playoff games with the Rams. That could be another thing. Maybe he's waiting for the Rams season to end to get Coach Huff back out, here to get the old gang back together again. I don't know. That's interesting. Pittman may not want to coach. Or maybe he just wants to coach offensive linemen and not recruit or have to do any other fluff you have to do or draw up contracts and all that BS. If it comes down to Texas versus Bama, if it's about the money, we know where that's going to end, Carter. We know that Cam's going to touch down in Austin and drive his leased Lamborghini to his dorm room or his mansion or whatever house they give him or whatever. I believe, Crimson, you're right. The fundamentals need to be there, and we saw flashes of the offense. I mean, there were bits and pieces and flashes here and there, but once we got the film got out, I think the South Carolina game really put the film out on how to defend this offense, and then we just never countered anything that they were doing, any of the other teams were doing. Yeah. I mean, we got two Hollywoods on the team now. So is there a limit to how many Hollywoods you can have on a roster? I'm not sure if there's a Hollywood limit on college rosters. So I don't know. Never trust a guy anymore. Yeah, Huff might not be leaving a cushy NFL gig, and he's out in LA, man. He's probably liking it out there. And he may not want to fool with having to recruit and deal with players' uncles and their dads who think their kid's worth 10 or 5, 6, 7 million bucks, and he's either never played college ball or he's had 400 yards. It's just crazy. Hollywood and Dollywood, that's right. Well, that's kind of harsh. They won the Joe Moore Award 2023, and their running back had 1,300 yards rushing. That's a little harsh. Couldn't run behind this offensive line this year. That's true. But 2023, Cap wasn't the offensive line coach. Go look at Michigan State. Had they done anything 2 years ago in the running game? Didn't think so. I don't see the fix. Eric, we mentioned earlier, the fix will come when the NFL starts getting affected by it in whatever way, whether it's the players stink when they get to the NFL because they can't develop or whatever. But when it bleeds into affecting the NFL product, that's when you'll see a change. The most powerful man in sports, Roger Goodell, will fix it. All because he doesn't want his product butchered. Is that from Tim Brando? Did Tim Brando report that? Yeah, there's a starting right tackle for the Ravens is one of them, Rosengarten. There's one of them. There's another one too somewhere, but I know the right tackle for the Ravens, the starting right tackle for the Ravens is from that Washington line. I was talking about DeBoer's line at Washington in 2023, Larry. The Joe Moore Award winners, if that's what you're referring to. Yeah, good point. Barry Sanders had some atrocious offensive lines in Detroit. There you go. See, when the NFL starts getting affected. Bingo. I want to know this too. These should be public knowledge. If we're paying these salaries, we deserve to know. We deserve to know. Gotcha, Larry. Yeah, we deserve to know how much these guys are getting paid if we're being asked to join a collective and donate to NIL funds and buy more tickets and pay more money and pay more whatever booster, whatever. We deserve to know what these guys are getting. So we know if we're getting our bang for our buck. Hollywood should take a pay cut this year. Should be a year-to-year thing. Should have incentives. These should be incentive-laden deals. That's what they should be. Here's your base. And then if you hit these numbers, you get bumps, you get bonuses. So let's see. What's up, Sweet Home Bama? And the rest of the team is signed with other SEC teams. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of homecomings this year. Not wrong, Lance. He got to campus, Brian, but never signed, and then suddenly is taking a visit to Texas. So I think you can draw your conclusions on what that means. Yeah, I agree because I mean, he didn't even play last year. But Tobias and I are in agreement on Bach that he should have stayed at cornerback. Like he wanted to play receiver, and that room was pretty deep. Ooh, load. He would have lost quite a bit of cheese this year, Cat. I don't even think it's that, Lance. I think they're signing contracts, but there's nobody to enforce them. There's no body that enforces the deals. So they can just sign a contract and then say, I'll sign a better one. I got a better offer. But although, didn't they make that kid stay at Washington? Didn't he stay in Washington, or didn't something happen where he had to stay at Washington? Am I misunderstanding that? Am I tripping? I could have sworn that I read somewhere, I saw somewhere that he decided, he decided to stay. Okay, you're right, Kat. They got lawyers involved. Yeah. So yeah. Well, and good for Washington. They were like, "Hey, pal, you signed a contract, so we'll sue your ass, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see what they say, what the courts say." No, James. Just know that he's visited today, and he's being very cryptic. I did not know that they had a handshake deal with Bowden. I thought Bowden turned it down. I thought Bowden turned the job down, or maybe he turned it down a different stage than what you're talking about there. Because Curry came after old Ray. Yeah, but I didn't know. I thought that maybe Bowden turned it down before, and then they were going to hire him again, and then when they hired Curry. Oh, okay. Well, you heard it direct from the source then. Cool. Well, I did not know that, so that's good to know. There's a blast in the past. Logan Young, anyone? I never saw him play. He put his numbers look good from a distance, but I didn't watch any games Washington played, so I didn't know any substance or anything. Yeah, I'm about there with you, Kat. Cotton and I put out like 87 shorts over the last 3 days about these visits and all this crap, and I just don't care anymore. It's like there is no more A-Day either. Just tell me who the roster is when spring ball starts. That's I'm about there with you. Just whenever spring practice starts, tell me who's on the team. I'm tired of all this cryptic stuff and then this and then that, and is he coming, and is he predictions, and so-and-so predicts so-and-so and predictions and this. Like, just tell me when you're ready to sign, and let's get to work. Yeah, like Cam had started following a bunch of current Bama players and Alabama stuff on Instagram, and a bunch of current guys on the roster. So, everybody thinks that means something, which it might, but then again, he may just be playing shadow games, driving his price up for Texas. So if he goes and visits Texas or talks to Texas, he can say, hey man, I love it here. So you have to make it worth my while to pull me out of this place. And is anybody else weird when you open up Twitter and it says Ryan Williams re-signed with Alabama? Re-signed? Was re-signed? So I guess that's what we're saying now, which is true because this is a mercenary pro league now. So I guess that's the terminology we need to use. Yeah, agreed. Predictions, all these predictions on the recruiting, nobody knows jack. Even the players, the guy, even the kids don't even know half the time. I'm about 50-50 right there. Some of it's too much where I'm thinking like, okay, this is too obvious of a troll. Anyway. Yeah, I hate the resign tweets too. It's like I don't know you were on the verge of not resigning. Didn't you get a scholarship? I don't know. Yes, this is how they should. These tweets should say retaining, or they should say nothing because they're already on the team. J Rock City, what's up, J Rock City? Yeah, we're just burning on some stuff. Talking about that Peach Bowl game. We're talking about the Bama roster, lack thereof. We're talking about the portal movement or lack thereof. We're just getting a lot of stuff off our chest that we didn't do last night. We didn't want to try to compete with the college football game last night, so we just had to move the live show tonight, and then Cott went to bed on me. Yeah, do you get a bonus if you resign? You get a raise or something? It's like I don't get it. I don't know. I mean, they're not disclosing the amounts that all this is happening. Like, is Courtney Morgan having to meet with all these agents? Like every day, all these portal. Was Courtney Morgan having to spend all day meeting and crunching numbers for this stuff? It's nuts. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, they're happening all the time. Cotton tries to stay on. I mean, we're trying to stay on as best we can. I was at work the other day running back and forth to a conference room to record shorts about a guy visiting, and then the long snapper committing, and then the safety committing, and and so and so visiting, and possible this. And I mean, I was running back and forth from my desk to the conference room, spitting out shorts, and Michael was in meetings, and then he had to spit a bunch out. I mean, it's just, man, relentless. Yeah, I love how the top seeds get punished by 30 days off and no home playoff games. That's a wonderful system. Can you believe grown adults put the system in place with functional brains? I can't believe that adult people that signed off on the system and put the system in place. This was actually somebody's idea that got approved. It blows my mind. It blows my mind how college football wants wants to be so distance itself from the NFL. Now it acts just like the NFL with the money and the contracts. But then as soon as the season ends, they move all their games to NFL stadiums and they play their games on NFL football nights. Monday night is the championship game. What college football game gets played on a Monday night outside of the Mountain West or Auburn? Sorry. Yeah. Outside of the Mountain West, what college games get played on Monday night? Oh, I'm sorry. The national championship game, kickoff at 8:30 Eastern. What? On January 19th, we're almost the end of January, waiting for this championship game. Hi. Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, on a Monday. Ridiculous. College football should be played on a Saturday night. Okay? Forever. At least unless like January 1 should be the championship game, whatever day that falls on. But that's it. But other than that, college football is a Saturday night, man. Saturday night is college football night. Saturday is college basketball. Saturday night is college football night. That's just Saturdays in the fall is college football all day. But let's play the championship game on a Monday night. Ding, 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 ding. It's like the Monday Night Football theme music. Is it going to be Joe Buck and Troy Aikman doing the game? Is there a Manning cast too? I mean, let's just go full on Monday Night Football. Let's bring back Dan Deerdorf. Get the old Hank Williams intro going. Jay Bake, my man. Thank you for getting here, Jay Bake. I was worried you weren't going to show up tonight, Bake. Oh gosh, no kidding, man. You still at work watching the first quarter of the championship game at work? Yes. Yes. I agree with that. Yeah, that's true. That's true. The travel is too much for fans. The ticket prices are ridiculous. For these games are ridiculous. And the travel's too much. You're asking fans to travel across the country 3 times if they play 3 playoff games. I mean, come on now. What are we doing here? It's like I'm taking crazy pills. Hey, Cyber, it's not college football anymore. That died a few years ago. It's a mercenary pro league. The guys that transfer every year, they're not going to school. They're not going to class. They don't even know if their credits transfer. Majority of these guys aren't even going to class. Why should they? Why should they go? They're not going to be around more than a year. So most of them aren't even going to class. Maybe they are. Maybe it's a precedent at some schools that they go to class. But I know Alabama gets a lot of guys graduating and stuff, but it's not the guys that are hopping 4 teams in 4 years and 5 teams in 5 years and TJ Finley and 8 teams in 8 years. I don't know. I mean, you think so, but how does the schedule work out? When they turn grades in and they find out that you have all incompletes and they say you're ineligible, but is the season over by then? I don't know when the college grades would come in where it would affect a player, but then the player would just tell them to piss off. It's like, you're paying me $5 million. I don't care about your stupid eligibility. Then they'll sue him. They'll say, well, you're preventing me from earning my wage, so I'll see you in court. That's happening. That's going to happen. I'm telling you right now, that's going to happen. So prepare for it. That this is just going to be, and if you're not good enough to play in the NFL, heck, in basketball, they're already doing it. The guy gets drafted by the Knicks, can't make a team in 3 years, comes back to Baylor. So it's already happening. Me either, Mace. This portal thing is wearing me out. Yeah, they paid you millions not to qualify. They paid you millions to catch touchdowns. They don't care. As long as you're catching touchdowns, they couldn't care less. I would have said Alabama an hour and a half ago, but now I think it's Texas. If you take last minute visits to Texas, that's probably, you're not going over there just to check it out. You're going over there to work out a deal. Right. When do they get fined for targeting? That's a good point. I don't know. So anyway, all right, y'all. We've been at this about an hour and 15 minutes. Props out to Clint Lamb. He did a 3-hour post-game show after that Alabama game. He was on by himself doing this for 3 hours. My gosh, I had to give him a standing applause for that. I don't know, Doug. Nobody knows. Was there any pictures of him even there? Did he ever even get there? Was he just supposedly he was there today? Yeah, this is a good point. Might be trying to just leverage his deal. Can Alabama still be used to leverage better offers? You know, a few years back, guys would commit to Alabama just to get offers from other places or just to get better offers from other places. So I don't know. Yes, whoever plays in the championship game gets some type of extra time, but it's only those two teams. That there's some provision though that, excuse me, that they get. I don't know, a few many days, however many days. Yes, roll tide forever, Bama. Dave, roll tide forever. 5 days. Okay, that's what we thought. So I knew it was something like that. Yeah, yes, roll tide forever. So and the what would really make the most noise if we stopped going to the games, if we stopped buying tickets and stopped filling stadiums up for that would really send the message, but we can't do that. We can't not watch our team play. As much as I hate whatever this mercenary pro league has become, if Alabama is playing, I'm watching. I may not watch the whole thing depending on how the game goes, but if Bama's playing, I'm watching. Whether it's college kids, whether it's hired guns, if Bama's playing, I'm watching. That's just the simple fact. Maybe the transfer portal needs to be moved to the spring, like to after spring practice. Have one transfer portal after spring practice. I don't know, or before. I don't know when a good time is, but while the playoffs are going on, to have almost 5,000 players in the portal, like 38% or something players in the portal, that's half of college football. It's ridiculous, man. Remember when Alabama and Auburn played the last game of the regular season, like November 29th or something like that, and it's the championship is going to be January. 2 months later, the championship game will be. Hockey playoffs play 4 7-game series in this amount of time. That it's taken us to play 3 games. That's taking college football to play 3 games. Hockey plays 4 7-game series in that amount of time. That's look, all I'm doing is complaining. Sorry, y'all. If you came on for some positive stuff and all I've been doing is bitching and complaining. My apologies. Thanks everybody for joining us. I'm gonna say, how many we got on YouTube here? 47. Thank you, 47 of you on YouTube. Quite a bit on X. I don't know how those numbers work, if they're actually watching on X or what. But that would have been something. That Washington squad, though. That Washington squad was dope. They were legit. Yeah, NASCAR. And I love NASCAR. And I even think NASCAR is scheduled too long. And I'm a ginormous racing guy. Anyway. Superfly in the house. What's up, dude? Superfly good on X, man. He got some good tweets out there. So y'all go follow him if you haven't. Thanks for joining us, Superfly, right here at the end. We're about to land this plane here. Not much else more we can say about that game tonight. It was a pretty boring game. Indiana didn't even break a sweat, I don't think. So they should be nice and rested on their 10 days off for the game in Miami, in Hard Rock Stadium in South Beach. So anyway, well, I appreciate everybody in the chat being active tonight and helping me get through this by myself. Cotton decided he was tired and went to sleep, so God bless him. I know he hadn't been feeling good lately. So anyway, we're probably gonna hop on here. We may hop on here tomorrow night and chop up some stuff. If any portal news happens or any Cam Coleman news happens, be on the lookout. Please make sure you're following Way Offsides. You're subbed to Way Offsides to the YouTube channel. The shorts are there. The updates are there. The long form videos are there. Michael and I try to get that stuff out to y'all as fast as we can. As soon as we hear something, as soon as we get the news, we try to get y'all something. So please go sub on YouTube. Follow us on X. You can find myself and Cotton at Way Offsides. You'll see, if you just type in Way Offsides with 4 A's on X, you'll find myself and Cotton, Way Offsides JQ, Way Offsides Cotton. Probably find Bill, maybe Jay will, maybe Chris. Anyway, so give us a follow there. Check us out for all we try to keep current with everything. We try to give y'all much information as we can. When we get it, it's not always the easiest. Some stuff gets out there pretty quick. So hope everybody feels better about that Rose Bowl after watching Indiana eviscerate Oregon tonight with really relative ease. Indiana, I saw them yawning a few times even as they were running the ball down the sideline. I saw them yawn a couple times, like, give me a break. This is supposed to be a challenge. So let's see what Miami has for them. Y'all be good tonight. Thank y'all for hanging out with me for this long. I can't believe y'all did this. I can't believe that I even entertained you guys this much, but actually y'all entertained me by participating and commenting. So we do the show for y'all. Without y'all, we would just be a couple of idiots talking to ourselves. So we appreciate y'all so much. Stick with us. And as remember, drink your milk, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, read your Bibles, beat Auburn, beat LSU, beat Tennessee too. Horns down. Roll it.